Hello and welcome to the Monroe Method Clancast. I am Jason Monroe. This is episode 184. Do you know, I don't know what I kind of know what I'm going to talk about today, so we'll see how it goes and then what the title's going to be. But when you are trying to lose weight, okay, and not just lose weight, you are trying to lose weight and become a new weight. You are trying to become, and this is the way you've got to look at it, right? You need to stop thinking about dieting. You need to stop thinking about losing weight. You need to stop thinking about, I need to lose weight. If you come at it from that angle, from that thinking, with that mindset, with that approach, then all you're doing is dieting. And dieting is the same shit that you have been doing for more years than you would like to admit. Start thinking of your weight as like, this is, okay, yeah, well, we'll go with this angle. This is who I am, okay? So my weight is exactly where it's supposed to be. I am not a smaller person living in a bigger body. I'm not supposed to be lighter. This is it. The way that I live, the way that I wake up, the way that I go to bed, the amount of time I spend scrolling, the way that I eat, the amount of jobs that I give food to do beyond just fueling my body and supporting my energy levels and all this stuff, it equates to me being 14 stone, 15 stone, 17 stone, whatever the number is. Never forget, like, your weight is not random. It is not an accident. You are not hard done by. You're not unlucky. Your weight is the accumulation of the amount of energy you have asked your body to consume that was over and above what it needed or what it was going to use. Okay, so you are exactly where you're supposed. I know you don't want to be there, but you are exactly where you are supposed to be. Now, the reason I'm saying that is that should be an empowering thing. Because, it's not, I've actually just written a big daily post for the community today about blame and shame and all this stuff. Like, you can't blame yourself to be better. You can't shame yourself. You can't use negativity or negative self-talk to somehow lead to a positive outcome. If you go ask any of the people that I've helped over the years, people who've lost weight and they're still maintaining their weight, living at their lower weights, go and ask them, what do you do to maintain your weight? Do you think any of them are going to say, well, what I do is I stand in the mirror and speak to myself like a piece of shit for 15 minutes and remind myself how awful I am and how terrible I am and you don't want to be that person anymore? Do you think they give themselves a hard time and beat themselves up every time they slip up or make a mistake? Of course they don't. Yet we seem to think that the more mean we are to ourselves, the more we bully ourselves, that's somehow going to make us better. It's somehow going to make us lighter. Sometimes it does. And if it does, it's not going to last for very long. That's the bully personal trainer approach. The whole, you don't want it enough. Nonsense. Anyway, your start point is your weight is exactly where it's supposed to be, right? And you are not trying to lose weight. You are trying to become a lighter version of yourself. So it's a case of, right, this is the version of myself I am right now. That's the version I want to be. What are the series of things that I need to fix and change and solve along the way so that I get to stay there? I had this big chat with someone yesterday who was talking about one of their struggles is like, I always think of it as being, I'm only doing this to lose weight. I'm only doing this in dieting. Now, the thing with that person is, and this is true for a lot of people, where if you are a heavier person and that is giving you a significant calorie burn. So for example, if somebody is 14, 15, 16 stone, and let's say they're burning 24, 25, 26, 2,600 calories, I would ask that person to have somewhere around 2,000 calories. Now, in those cases, it's an interesting thing. Not interesting. It's I find it helpful thing to be able to say to someone, especially when they come back and talk about dieting and things, where it's like, do you know what? At some point in the future, when you are the future version of yourself, when you've made it to 9 or 10 or 11 or whatever it is that's in your mind, and you've lost 4 or 5 or 6 stone, you're not going to be burning 2,500 calories anymore. The calories that you're eating right now to lose weight, this is not a short-term diet. This is how you will eat for the rest of your life. Because at some point in the future, once you've lost the weight, and in case you don't know this, and this is new information, body weight itself burns calories. It's a living tissue, not body weight, body fat, I meant to say. Body fat is a living tissue, and your body has to maintain that living tissue because at some point it's going to want to tap into it to use it for energy, so it has to stay alive. We think that a pound of muscle burns around 200 to 300 calories per day. So if you have 100 pounds to lose, that is adding 200, 300 calories per day to your calorie burn, to your BMR, purely just by existing. But it doesn't stop there because you have to move that 100 pounds around everywhere you go. And that costs extra calories. So your weight has a significant impact on your total calorie burn, which means in the reverse, as you lose that weight, it will over time have a significant impact on your calorie burn. This is why people think their metabolism's slowing down or they're having a weight loss plateau. The reality is they've probably lost 50, 60 pounds. They're burning a few hundred calories less, and the calories that they've been on just aren't working the same anymore. That's not anything slowing down or a weight loss plateau. It's quite simply your body has a lower calorie burn now because there's less of you. Now, I've gone off on a track that I didn't even think I was going to talk about today, so I'm going to bring it back to this because this is important. When we talk about dieting, when we talk about losing weight, right, people always want to wait for the right time. They want to wait to get this, I just spoke to someone this morning who was going to come and work with me on my 8-week thing, but they wanted to get their son's birthday out the way for whatever reason, right? And it will make perfect sense to them. But the thing is, the future version of them won't look at birthdays like that. So obviously this person wants to, it's my twin son's birthdays in May. And there'll be the financial aspect of it as well. But there may also be that, it's going to be a big one. It's going to be a big celebration. We're going to have a barbecue or go out for a meal. And people often use these things as barriers to delaying getting started. But anyway, back to the point. So we're quite often waiting for the perfect time. But what people don't do often enough is think about creating the best conditions. The best conditions will do far more for you than the perfect time. So what I mean by that is something that has come out, this new 8-week rewire thing that I'm running, something, two of the biggest things that is coming out of it is that most people are not getting enough sleep. That's one of the biggest ones. You would think, maybe is it fruits and vegetables? Is it protein? Is it calories? Is it emotional eating? Blah, blah, blah. It's not. Of all the people who have gone through this over this first and second intake, the biggest thing that I have been working on with people is sleep and good sleep hygiene, because their sleep is awful. Like 95% of the people I'm working with are going to bed at 9 o'clock. They're scrolling their phones or they're watching TV, and it's not until that little clock at the top of your phone hits that dreaded 0000 and you go, oh shit, I've done it again. It's midnight. And then they toss and turn. I've got people who are still drinking coffee at 6 o'clock at night and wondering why they can't sleep at night. I've got menopausal women who are waking up 2 to 3 times during the night to go to the toilet, but they're taking a fucking Stanley Cup of water to bed with them because it's just a habit that they're into. Oh, I like, when I wake up, I like to have a drink. I'm like, yeah, but you wouldn't be waking up if you stopped bloody drinking at 6 or 7 o'clock at night and emptied your bladder out before bed. And, you're talking about being menopausal, hot flashes, struggling with sleep, lack of energy, but you're also not creating the right conditions for you to help counteract that. And this is what I mean. The right conditions will help you far more than waiting for the right time. Right conditions, getting enough sleep, right? I know this is boring, and this is why inside the 8-week rewire, I call this the boring essentials. I know it's fucking boring. Everybody knows you're supposed to sleep. Everybody knows you're supposed to eat fruits and vegetables. I know it's boring, but it's the boring stuff that works. With the conditions is about creating the best possible baseline for you to then launch your weight loss effort, okay? That is not going to be found in a time, because the time thing's stupid. Because what all that means is you're waiting for a gap in life for life to be quiet enough to lose weight, right? And then what happens when life gets busy? And the only thing you've learned to do is how to manage your eating when you're not busy. The time thing makes no sense. The perfect time stuff makes zero sense. The perfect conditions are far more important. Number 1, go to your bed at a reasonable time and get 8 hours of sleep if you can, 9 if you can. It's such a basic thing to do, and I know it sounds so basic and ridiculous, but let me ask you the question. If you get 5 hours of sleep tonight, how's tomorrow going to go? It is not going to be a good day. You are going to wake up. I used to do this when I worked in my old job. I had to get up at like 4:30 in the morning after seeing midnight. But I only worked like a couple of shifts at a time because I worked a continental shift, like 7 days a fortnight, 2 on, 2 off, 3 on, 2 off, 2 on, 3 on. No, 2 on, 2 off, 3 on. 2 off, 2 on, 3 off it was. So I survived it, but I was going to bed at midnight and getting up at 4:30 in the morning. And you wake up after 4.5 hours sleep, the alarm's going off, you get up and you're like, oh my God. I bet most of you have done this. You make that promise to yourself, I am going straight to bed when I get home from work tonight. And of course, when you get home from work, you don't do that. You do the same shit all over again. So tomorrow, how do you think tomorrow's going to go if you get 5 hours sleep? Versus how do you think tomorrow's going to go if you get 8 hours sleep? Step 1 of creating the best conditions is to be well rested. You are in a better position to handle stress. You are in a better position to make decisions. You are in, if you are someone who struggles with eating later in the evening or making great choices later in the evening, when are you at your most exhausted? It's not first thing in the morning when you've just woken up. It's last thing at night when you're not at work, when you're at home, when you're around a kitchen, when you're around a food environment, when you can jump on an app and order Just Eat, or you can go out to a dessert place. I was thinking of Candid in my head because that's one that's near me, and get whatever. Sleep is everything. I would say sleep, if you were looking at the pyramid of hierarchy, I would say that sleep was the biggest part. So number 1, sleep. You have woken up in the morning, you've had 8 hours sleep, you have now created the best sleep conditions for the next day. Yes, you might still emotional eat. Yes, you might still do stuff that's unhelpful, but the potential is that you're going to do less of it because you're in a position to make better decisions now. After that, I think the next most important thing is your balanced eating. So many people just try to skip breakfast. Like, people fall into this default thing of, well, if my eating's shit for the entire day, I'll just skip breakfast and I won't start. They try to do the whole intermittent fasting thing to accommodate their poor diet. Well, if I don't have a breakfast, that's a few hundred calories saved, and then hopefully what I eat from lunchtime to bedtime won't matter as much. And all that happens is you create hunger, you don't stabilise your energy levels, you don't give your blood sugar anything to help balance you out. 10, 11 o'clock hits, you're looking for biscuits and sweets, then you're getting the big blood sugar rush, and again, because you don't eat any fruits and vegetables or anything with fibre in it, you've got nothing to stabilise your blood sugar, and so you end up in this carb sugar up and down window for the entire day. And that drains the life out of you. Once your sleep is sorted, you have to balance your eating. And I've spoken about this in so many episodes. I honestly think if the government just launched a fibre campaign and made it their one and only focus, I think it would solve maybe not the majority, but a large portion of our eating and energy issues in the UK. Instead, what do we have? We've got caffeine, we've got coffee shops, we've got energy drinks, we've got people constantly looking to boost themselves out of a problem that they are creating. Oh, I don't want this to turn into like a pure rant and tirade, but yeah. Balance your eating and manage your hunger levels. That's the only 2 things I would suggest you to do. I know you were expecting a big, massive list and it was going to sound overwhelming and like too much, but that's it. I've got a bunch of people inside the Monroe Method just now who are going on holiday and things. And the advice that I give to people on holiday is, yes, you're on holiday. Yes, you're going to eat different, but your body's needs are still the same. You still get fruits and vegetables in that country. You do not need to be posting a Facebook status on day 6 saying, oh my God, can't wait to get home. My body is craving all the vegetables. While you're in the fucking country, Spain, where if you go into the supermarket, most of your fruit and veg comes from. Remember when people used to do that on Facebook? Maybe they still do, I don't know. I've not been on Facebook in years. But the advice that I give to people going on holiday is manage your hunger levels, because you are going to be out. You're going to be out and about. You're going to be passing restaurants, passing cafes, passing ice cream shops. You are going to be in a situation, especially because you've got holiday money in your pocket and you're in the holiday mode, where if you feel hungry, it'll be like, oh, where can we go? Let's go here. That looks nice. So it's not about stopping yourself from eating or restricting yourself. It's, if I can make myself less hungry by at least having a couple of well-balanced meals, then instead of making 10 food choices each day, where I've stopped here and I've stopped there and I've grabbed this and I've eaten a whole sharing bag of Lay's and I've had a whole Milka bar or whatever, I might have only done that 3 or 4 times or 5 times. If you improve your sleep and if you manage your hunger better, that will solve 70% of your issues. Because once you've done those 2 things, once you're doing those 2 things, yes, you might still be emotionally eating. Yes, you might still be stress eating. Yes, you might still be using food or drink to cope. Yes, you might still be snacking. But you're going to do less of it. And not only that, you are going to be well rested enough to think your way out of it better, to actually process it better rather than being a slave to it. And your hunger is going to be resolved enough where high levels of hunger are not driving every food choice, so that you're not frantically eating while you're prepping dinner because all you've done is eat nothing of substance all day. Or it's not the end of the day and you're exhausted and you can't be bothered standing in the kitchen, so it's much easier to open and just eat. Do you know, we are all slaves to this world that we have allowed people who sell shit to create. That's how the world works, right? The people who sell shit create this fucking awful world where the worse we feel, the more money we're going to spend. I've never looked at the stats, but what must the numbers be on the energy drink market? It must be in the hundreds of billions. Why are people... Think of it this way. In the UK... In fact, I'm going to Google it. Fuck it. I'm at my desk anyway. In the UK, over, I think it's 68 or 67% of adults in the UK are overweight or obese, right? We do not have an energy shortage in the UK. What I mean by that, energy drinks UK sales. What I mean by that is the body fat that you're carrying is a reflection of all the extra energy that you have consumed and didn't need. So we do not have an energy crisis. You are not lacking energy in terms of fuel. We are overflowing with energy. You are a walking sack of energy. Every pound of body fat that you're carrying, that's 3,500 calories worth of energy that your body is desperate to tap into, but it can't because you keep eating and drinking and putting calories on top of it and your body never gets a chance. So why is it, and here's the numbers now, why is it that in a country, in a nation where the majority of adults are overweight and overflowing with energy because they're consuming too much energy, do we have an energy drinks market exceeding 4 billion in 2024 and it's expected to reach 5 billion by 2029? It's because we overload our body with calories, we overload it with energy, and we make ourselves feel like shit. We don't go to bed. We deprive our bodies of sleep. We don't give it any fruits and vegetables. We are asking, we're asking a Formula One car to perform on cheap Tesco petrol. So, If you want to lose weight and keep it off for life, if you want to have any chance at success, don't wait for the perfect time. Create better conditions. Go to bed. Get some fucking sleep. Give your body a chance to rest and recover and put you in a strong position tomorrow. After that, balance your eating a bit better. Give your body something of substance. Give it something that will actually fill it up. Manage your hunger levels. When you combine reduced hunger with an increase in energy, an increase in rest, I mean, just listening to that, does that make you feel like you could probably do a lot better if that's how you felt? If I felt much better tomorrow, then I could probably make better choices. I could make better decisions. I'd be less tired and exhausted. Now, I'm a parent. I know what it's like to have kids. If you've got, I'm working with people on maternity leave, with people with babies, people with twin babies. I know sleep is not always realistic, but we have to stop lying to ourselves that there is so much more that is within our control that we could be doing. And the other thing, I'm not going to rant about this today, but your phone is stealing your fucking life from you. Your phone is stealing your life. It's stealing your health, stealing your energy. It gives you nothing but a dopamine hit. God, I wonder what's going to happen with phones in the next 10 years. Will they allow them to keep going the way they are, or will they finally find out that they are ruining humanity? I hope they don't, because I like my phone. On that, if you are someone who struggles with their phone, if it's glued to you constantly, if you're giving hours of your eye time to your phone, go get a book called How to Break Up with Your Phone. It was the thing that changed my whole outlook on phones, purely because it reveals like the science behind phones and how they're designed to manipulate you. The whole notifications thing. Now we have Apple Watches where your wrist is vibrating to then draw your attention to your phone just in case you didn't see the notification. And then once your eyes are in your phone, how many times I do this all the time? I have no option to go on Instagram because I need to for what I do. Do you know how many times I go into Instagram to do something and I'm 3 videos in going, what the fuck am I doing? I did it the other day. I went to show a friend something on my phone. I opened the phone. It was still on Instagram. I was 3 videos deep and I'm like, oh, watch this funny video. I went, oh shit, I was going to show you that thing. How to break up with your phone. It's not about actually breaking up with your phone. It's about making you more informed about your phone so that it loses a lot of power over you. Anyway, if you want to give yourself the best possible chance of long-term success, fix your sleep as a start point. Put yourself in the best possible position tomorrow by making sure you're well rested. After that, things will get easier. But you cannot you can't change. You're not going to change a lifetime of habits, a lifetime of emotional eating, a lifetime of coping and all this stuff while also being tired and exhausted. It doesn't work. Get some sleep. Eat something of substance. Get rid of your hunger a bit better. Don't just throw snacks and crisps and stuff at it. That's not making hunger go away. It's filling the hole temporarily. And the hunger comes back. Once you solve those 2 things, better managed hunger, better sleep, everything else, it puts you in like you've got a 50% increase in being able to make better decisions that day, not being so exhausted, maybe wanting to stand and cook something later at night and not just dive into your Just Eat app and whatever. Anyway, enough from me. Until next time.